All right. Taking a look now, Melissa, at your final project, and you've written yours in APA. So the title page looks very good. Of course, this should have been capitalized, but it's not too big of a deal, just one word. So that looks good. And let's see how you did. So that your first line of a paragraph, each paragraph should have been tabbed in, but again, that's just relatively minor things. These blue lines are here because you've got excess spacing between these words. So I'm not sure how that happened, but that's something that's not a big deal. It's kind of minor anyway, but something you might want to take note of for future reference. So let's see how you did with the actual writing material here. So let me take a look here. In 2025, stress, so there should be a comma there after 2025. In 2025, comma, stress is truly unavoidable in the reality of daily life. Nicole Pelusi, author of the text Take a Break, talks about the importance of taking care of yourself and knowing the signs of feeling stressed and how to manage it to avoid further complications, comma, such as mental health, anxiety, depression. Okay, so science, a little bit of a run-on sentence there, but not too bad, not too bad. And the purpose of this text is to inform an audience of parents or caregivers. So here you're delineating who your audience is. So your topic is there. The purpose is you pretty much straight out say what your purpose is. Um, so it's a good thing that you've clarified your audience. So that's great. Um, Genre, I think I can say that since you say that Pelosi talks about importance of taking care of yourself, that tells me that it's probably informational. Okay. Let's see what else here. You kind of allude to the historical context with your first sentence there. And let's see what else we have here. Have a lot of information here probably you could have saved and just put in the body paragraph somewhere. A little bit more than you needed for the introduction. The introduction, you always want to remember introductions should typically be pretty short and sweet. Um, okay, so basically, I don't really see a solid thesis statement at all here. You're kind of what you're doing here is what several other students have been doing, and that is basically just writing to the rubric. It's almost like you wrote a list of answers to these rubric elements, and then you just put them into paragraph form. And that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for an essay that weaves these things in naturally, rather than so matter of factly like this. And the exemplar that's why I harp so much on the exemplars, because the exemplar shows you that how this should be written. So it looks to me like you probably didn't use the exemplar. And that's a pretty big problem because it's going to probably cause this issue throughout your paper. Um, so you do have these things here. They're just not really incorporated the way they should be. Um, I'm actually going to change these to meets simply because of that. So meets is still good. Meets is still good. It's just not, I can't really say it's exceeding expectations because it's not really doing what it's supposed to be doing or the way it's supposed to be doing it. So that's not much off. As you can see, it's just a little bit off for each one. All right. You're writing a fair amount of details, and for some reason, this information here is in a different font for some reason, which tells me you probably cut and pasted it in there. And there's nothing wrong with cut and pasting as long as it's not like you're not doing it from like a from another site without giving credit or something, or you're not using ChatGPT or something like that. Um, so, all right. So Problem is here, you don't really have, you have details, but they're not really the kind of details we're looking for. And your evidence is pretty much non-existent. You don't ever quote her in this whole part one. So that's going to be a big hit there. All right, let's see how you did with part two. New audience, you do talk about the new audience. Your audience for the second draft are managers or employers overseeing those parents and individuals. So that I can give you credit for. That's good. And I'll see how you did here. Okay, so same start. Okay, you do alter this a little bit about the employers dealing with running the business. FMLA. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Is that the Family Medical Leave something or other? I think they for your audience that doesn't know what that means, you should always, the very first time you mention something that you're going to use an acronym for, you should spell it out first and then put the acronym like this in parentheses. And that way your audience will know what you're talking about when you refer to that acronym again later on. Okay. But it does appear you're changing things up somewhat for your different audience, and that's good. Of course, you still have the same issue of having more details than you should have in the introduction, and you are still kind of addressing the purpose, uh, things like that are a little bit more on the nose rather than weaved in. You're having some grammar issues here. It should be apostrophe S. You should try not to use your or you because that's too conversational. All these blue underlines mean that there's issues that should have been fixed. So that tells me there's a lot of little relatively minor grammar issues and such. This second version is way too short. And again, you don't really cover the audience's needs. You don't really cover the thorough writing situation. Your writing style is okay. Writing conventions are okay, but well, no, because they're not really changed. They're not really doing what they should be doing in there for that. Communication could be clearer if you had done these with the exemplar. Citations are pretty much non-existent because you haven't cited anything throughout the paper. You do have the references page, but you haven't cited anything throughout the paper. So unfortunately, that's going to give you a pretty low grade. I'm sorry about that, Melissa. I'm sure you were looking for something better than that, hoping for something better than that. But as you can tell from what I've said here, this is the whole reason why I harp so much on using the exemplars throughout the course, because they just absolutely have to be used in order to do successful, great work. So if you have questions or anything, don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, that will do it for this video.